This is Gavin for Rifle TV in association with Macklin's in Marbella. We're at the O2 here for the announcement of Royal Britannia, May 30th. How are you?
Very good, mate. Buzzing.
Yeah?
Backdrop didn't arrive in time, so we backdropped this wonderful place, otherwise known as our second home.
Oh, you didn't have to mention about that backdrop thing.
I know, but just, you know, it's a bit frustrating.
So, Brook, Gavin, the turnaround very quickly.
Yeah.
We're talking literally in the space of probably about 10 days, a week.
Yeah. Someone texted me about, tweeted me about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago and said, why don't you make Brook Gavin next? And I went, look, it's a fight that will definitely happen, but probably in 6 to 9 months rather than now. And then the next day we got a call from the IBF saying Tim Bradley's got to fight Frankie Gavin in a final eliminator. I was absolutely buzzing with the news. I phoned up Frankie, he was buzzing with the news too. Started looking at the fight, talked about the money, talked money with Top Rank. And then all of a sudden he just said to me, well, do you think it makes more sense to me fight Kell Brook on May the 30th? And I was looking at the other opponents that were potentially in the frame, and I thought, you know what? So many more people would be interested in this fight than pulling someone from the rankings at short notice. Kell was already training. Frankie was already training for May the 9th. Sheffield v Birmingham, it was just the obvious thing to do. And Frankie started tweeting it, trying to get people on the bandwagon. Everyone did. And now we're there. It was a very quick fight to make. So
are you saying this idea, obviously, of Frankie's is the reason why it's happening? If he hadn't suggested it, you wouldn't have put it on? You
know, again, I didn't feel like... I always knew when I signed Frankie Gavin that Frankie Gavin against Kell Brook was a fight that could well happen. Natural fight. But... You off? Okay, mate. Yeah, all right, mate. See you in a bit.
Okay.
And I just felt that, again, we could build Frankie and make that a big stadium fight. But you know, when Frankie offered himself up, and I said, look, if you want the fight, I'll deliver it. And I spoke to Kell, and he went, bring it on. Loved that fight. So it was just, again, a natural fight. You know, Frankie's number 5 in the IBF. It's Tim Bradley, Amir Khan, and Frankie Gavin. So I think he's at 12 in the WBC, 11 in the WBA, something like that. And he just said, let me have the Kell Brook fight. And I was like, okay. I spoke to you about it.
Yeah.
You said, please make that fight. So I did. And I'm excited. I've seen a lot from Frankie today, actually. I've seen someone who's right up for this, you know. It's a very tough fight for him. But even in the face-off there, someone with a lot of... I think he's going to be very, very resistant. I think he wants this badly. You know, when I didn't have Frankie Gavin, I always used to see him tweet calling out Kell Brook. And I always used to think, maybe, in time. And now the opportunity's just presented itself, and he's got it. It's Sheffield versus Britain. Sheffield versus Birmingham for a shot at the world title.
Who were the other opponents considered for the 30th? Were they ranked like behind Gavin in the IBF?
Yeah, because there's only 2 that were ranked ahead of him.
But I'm saying you have to pick someone who's ranked in the top, what, 15?
I'll give you a clue. We always looked at, and by the way, the winner of this fight will fight Brandon Rios. We're very close to announcing that with Top Rank. Kell was always planning to get out in July, August. If he wins this fight, he'll fight Rios probably on August the 22nd. If he doesn't, Frankie Gavin will probably fight Rios. But in terms of the other opponents that were ready for May, Anton Beckery, Diego Chavez. Now that you're looking at the welterweight IBF rankings. Josecito Lopez got beat, he's out. Saddam Ali was another one, but like, no one's ever heard of him. Sean Porter, Tim Bradley, who's in the final eliminator, and some other geezer who I've never heard of. So I sort of started to think about it. And I thought, well, from all them people, obviously Bradley. But Bradley was not going out on May the 30th. So this is a fight we never expected to make for Kell Brook on May the 30th. And people say, oh, you want the big names. We were fighting the big names in July to August. And if he wins, that's still the case. You'll get the Rios announcement, like I said, probably in a couple of weeks for the winner. But this was a chance to turn this round quickly and put a big domestic world title fight on a bill that didn't necessarily even need it. But I got very carried away with this bill, Coogan. And it's just become a little bit of a game to see what more you can add. And every time we announce a fight, whether it's Cardo against Grady Evans, whether it's Blackwell against Ryder, who won the purse bids in the week. Stick it on, stick it on. I mean, we've done about 10,000 tickets already here. Now we've had this fight. You ain't going to have long to go.
Are you looking to add more?
Add more
fights to this card?
I mean, originally we've got Nathan Cleverley and Luke Campbell who were planned to be on this bill as well. Got some news coming about Nathan Cleverley next week, about a big fight coming up for him for the world title. And Campbell looking to box as well, so I don't know how we're going to fit it in. Boxing will start about 4:15, but we have a curfew here, which is about 11:30, so everyone will get home via whatever transport they choose. And I can't wait. I can't wait. You know, I'm going to sit there from start to finish and watch every single round of every single fight. I mean, let's break it down for you, Coop. Even from the stuff that's, you know, quite small on the night. John Wayne Hibbert against Dave Ryan for the Commonwealth title. Scotty Cardle against Craig Evans, 2 undefeated lightweights. Nick Blackwell against John Ryder, it's a brilliant fight. Anthony Joshua against Kevin Johnson. Lee Selby fighting the IBF world champion who's having his 5th defence of the title. Yevgeny Gradovich. Kevin Mitchell against Jorge Linares, the 3-weight world champion. One of my favourite fighters. Kevin Mitchell, one of my favourite people. And then Kell Brook against Frankie Gavin. Sheffield against Birmingham for the IBF Welterweight Championship of the World. 3 world title fights, 2 British title fights, Commonwealth title fight, Olympic heavyweight champion, and probably some more. It's boxing porn. It really is.
You need a Brook to be on this bill to make it a pay-per-view card?
Yeah, I mean, we were always planning on potentially adding some international stuff as well, maybe the Hearn fight, maybe that will still get added as well. Again, you know, you asked me the question, is this going to be pay-per-view? And adding Kell has definitely made it pay-per-view. And people say, oh, do you think Brook Gavin's a pay-per-view fight? I mean, we have this, you know, again, it's deja vu, isn't it? But I feel this is a totally different card to the Bellew Cleverley fight. And even with the responses we've had already, you know, I remember when we announced Bellew Cleverley, I think I had probably 2 weeks of absolute torture. And now I probably get about an hour. So if you don't think this card's pay-per-view, you just can't bring Linares, Gradovich, you know, Brook in a domestic world title fight, Johnson, 2 British. So it just can't be done. So, you know, I feel like it's a great night of boxing. And, you know, it's Kell Brook's first box office night of many.
Can you just clear up the Van Heerden situation? Obviously, he's meant to be fighting.
Scheduled to fight Gavin on May the 9th. You know, the opportunity came up with Tim Bradley. I called him straight away and said, look, we've got a problem here because Frankie Gavin wants a Tim Bradley fight. Then we had the Kell Brook fight. I said, we've got a massive problem here. Spoke to Michael King, his promoter. We're looking at other opportunities. He'll be compensated as well. So it's unfortunate for Chris Van Heerden, but it's boxing. And sometimes opportunities present themselves that you can't deny. But it'll be, we'll make another fight for Chris Van Heerden. Like I said, he'll be compensated as well. And, you know, we're working with Michael King to find a solution.
Did you think about Eggington?
Possibly, it might still happen. We're trying to make Eggington against Glenn Foot for the British title on May the 9th. But the Van Heerden fight is still a possibility for Eggington.
Frankie Gavin said you should not do that.
What, Van Heerden against Eggington?
Yeah.
Why, because he thinks it's too tough a fight?
Yes, that's what Frankie Gavin just said.
Maybe. I love the Glenn Foot Eggington fight. I think it's an absolute war. We've just got to realise what we're doing. Looks like we're going to be adding Anthony Joshua to the Birmingham bill to replace Frankie Gavin.
Gavin too?
No, definitely not Gavin too. Maybe Emmanuel Leo too, or Paul Butlin too. Bit more beef now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Obviously, continuation from Tuesday, the big.
Oh, for the
gesture.
check. Yeah.
The check.
A lot of people said I should have gone for the big fun check.
Yeah, why didn't you?
Because that's cheesy. I mean, it was quite cheesy as it was, but it's had a wonderful reaction. Wonderful reaction.
But no end result?
No, not yet, but I think we're a lot closer now than we were.
Really?
Yeah, because everybody's getting on their case.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're going to do what...
I think they're under a lot of pressure to make this fight now. Listen, they've had a 1.5 million guarantee. Even if it flops, turn up, get your money, no work. Then they came back and they said, oh, there's so much more money in the pot. So I said, all right, we've already offered you 60-40 to the winner and co-promoters of the show. You're contradicting yourself. One's not enough, one's not enough. I mean, so, you know, I don't think, you know, we want Nonito Donaire. We want potentially Kiko Martinez for July. And if we get one of those fights, particularly Danair, it just shows, you know, because let me tell you, Carl Frampton's going to be fighting no one like that. Because where's Carl Frampton's payday coming from next time? He's going to want the money. And the fact is, they're going to have to pay small money for an opponent to try and maximise his payday, and the people will be disappointed.
If Frampton Quigg doesn't happen, why can't you just make Quigg and Rigondeaux? Because that seems an easy fight to make.
Yeah, it's an easy fight to make. It's not necessarily an easy fight to win.
No, I know.
And like people said to me yesterday, oh, why don't you give the 1.5 million to Rigondeaux? Because he ain't worth it commercially. Great fighter, but unfortunately, Rigondeaux is a huge name to people on the internet, and that's the truth. Very difficult fight, great fight. Much prefer the Danair fight. But we don't rule out the Rigondeaux fight, honestly, because if Scott doesn't get Frampton, then who else is he going to fight? Santa Cruz will probably fight on the Mayweather card, and there's no one really else out there, and everybody's got to get paid, and now's the time for these guys to capitalise their earnings whilst they're world champion.
When are you going to draw a line under this Quigg Frampton thing?
Pretty much now, really. I mean,
no. Yeah.
We're working. I mean, we could confirm an opponent in the next 2 or 3 days.
So once you've confirmed an opponent,
that's it. Yeah, but I think they'll try and do the same.
Okay. So it was a great shout for May 30th, didn't you? To seal the deal here at the O2. David Hay.
You don't just add David Hay when you've got 3 world title fighters too. I spoke to David about before Kel was on this bill. I spoke to David about fighting here. He just said it's just a little bit too early for him, but I think you'll see him again September time. We'll be back here in September.
Need the Haymaker back. All right. Anything else?
No. Heading up to Leeds now.
You're going to Leeds now?
Are you coming? Oh, James is doing it.
James is there.
Mate.
Oh no, it's going to be rocking.
Off the hook.
Rocking. All right. At the end, thanks for talking to IFL TV.
Cheers, mate.
And see you soon.
See you soon.